אורחים נכבדים, אני מתכבד לפתוח את טקס שומר ציון המתקיים זו הפעם 17. הטקס יתנהל באנגלית, וברשותכם אני עובר לשפה זו. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to welcome you to the 17th Guardian of Zion Award Ceremony and Distinguished Renner Lecture. It is our custom to begin the ceremony with Hatikva. Please rise and join me in singing our national anthem. Kolot baleva benima nefesh Yehudi homiya. The Ingeborg Renner Center for Jerusalem Studies is an interdisciplinary center dedicated to fostering intellectual insight and public appreciation of Jerusalem's rich heritage. Our activities are many and varied, and I can easily use up all the time allotted to me in describing them. But the highlight of our year is the Guardian of Zion Award Ceremony and the Distinguished Renner Lecture delivered by the honoree. Previous winners have been Professor Eli Wiesel, who is here with us this evening and has come to every single ceremony since his own. "17 years ago, the ceremony took place on May 15th. That was the earliest it ever took place. It took place in the Citadel of David. It drizzled lightly during Professor Wiesel's speech. He was not happy about that, but neither was anybody else. The dinner also was outdoors, and by dessert, it poured. At that moment, we realized that it is better to do the ceremony indoors. And from then on, although the reception has usually been on the porch of the King David, it rained yet once again, today being May 13th. And 17 years ago, Professor Hanoch Levi, a geographer at Bar Ilan, the dean at that time of the Faculty of Social Sciences, explained to me why that happens in the middle of May.
Chag Sameach. Good evening, everyone. It's a three-way Chag Sameach. We just finished Jerusalem Day last week. We're honoring James Schneider tonight. And we have Shavuot coming. So it's a triple Chag Sameach to us all. And I would like to thank my dear friends, Inga and Ira Renner, the founders and supporters of the Renner Center, huge dear friends of Yerushalayim, and personal friends, the former president, Yitzhak Navon, Professor Moshe Kaveh, president of Bar Ilan University, the honorable ex-guardian of Jerusalem, that still remain guardians of Jerusalem, dear friends, and most important for tonight, James and Tina Schneider and the family. Just last year, the Jerusalem City Council awarded James honorary citizen of Yerushalayim for the same reasons that we're honoring him tonight. And with your permission, knowing James for a few years, I'd like to say a few words. James is one of the people I learn from most when it comes to execution and articulating a new vision. What James has done to the museum, to Jerusalem, is extremely important. The ability to see the product at the tail end of the development, to manage quite aggressive growth path, development path for the museum, getting great people on board. You probably all know James. He knows how to be very sweetie, lovey-dovey, a wonderful man, but he also knows how to bite like a bulldog. It doesn't let go when he needs things to get done.
Thank you very much, Mayor Barkat. It was worth waiting. It is my honor and privilege to invite Mr. James S. Snyder recipient of the 213 Guardian of Zion Award, to deliver the distinguished Rennet Lecture on the Israel Museum, an oasis of universal culture in a geopolitical world. Mr. Snyder, it's all yours.
For that introduction, and Nir, thank you for those very nice words. Before I begin, of course, I want to start by saying that it's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to be speaking to all of you. It's a privilege to be receiving the Guardian of Zion Award. You've heard the list of those distinguished recipients who preceded me. Hearing those names and seeing those prior recipients makes being here that much greater an honor. Often, as you listen to the list, you realize that awardees come from backgrounds in social history, political history, journalism. And I think it's a testament to the broad view of the founders and benefactors of the Renner Center, Inga and Ira, that they embrace visual culture as a critical element in this same landscape in Jerusalem's history and with respect to its future. So of course, I also want to begin by thanking Inga and Ira for all that they do in this respect. It's all the more special for me to be here in the presence of Yitzhak Navon, Israel's 5th president, who is a great friend. And Osnat Amos and Osnat Kalik, who are here really as a part of the great family heritage of Teddy, whose role with respect to the museum was so great, but even that much greater for Jerusalem in the overall. Finally, it's daunting to think that I'm about to begin my talk as I stand between you and your main course this evening. So I hope you're all going to help me by thinking of what I'm about to say as intellectual nourishment, a kind of first course before the main course. As you've heard, my talk this evening is on the Israel Museum, an oasis of universal culture in a geopolitical world. Of course, I'm going to talk about the museum because the museum is the reason for Tina's and my being here. Whatever we might have done, whatever we do here is really because of the source and inspiration that the museum provides. And I'm going to talk about culture for two reasons. One is it's my subject. But the other is that for us, it's a kind of antithesis to the geopolitical narrative that so often overtakes so much conversation worldwide today. As you'll hear, culture transcends, and material culture illuminates and illustrates the timeline of human history. And we, all of us, have a certain privilege in being in the front line of that timeline as it moves into the future. So I want to start with the museum's own narrative, and I want to show you some images, a bunch of images. And many of these will be familiar to you because you've seen them as images, and hopefully you've all seen them in the museum. But I want to talk about them, having all of you think and look with fresh eyes at this particular narrative focus on culture and its place in the landscape.